So the book, The Sovereign Individual, it predicts a lot of things that we're seeing. It predicted cyber cash, crypto obviously, but it predicted social media. Does it give us any insight moving forward?
It called social media narrowcasting as opposed to broadcasting. It also predicted that as the digital age started to really progress, that governments would likely resort to pandemic-like situations to try and reinforce the validity of their borders.
Yikes.
Which is interesting.
What year was this written?
This was written in 1997.
Whoa.
Yeah. And the key insight is, again, the logic of violence. And the main point that they make is that cryptography allows us to defend assets that is many orders of magnitude cheaper than anything ever before.
I have had a hand in starting 3 companies that became worth $1 billion. And maybe 4 if you count Canadian money as $1 billion. That's a pretty good record for just sitting around inventing your own work, but still it's not enough. I think of my friend Peter Thiel, who is a big fan of the sovereign individual, and I think he's an example of somebody who is pretty close to being a sovereign individual. He's got his own billions and he's got plenty of interest in technology. You see with Bitcoin a very elusive target. Governments, starting with the Chinese, are cracking down on it. You're going to be hearing a lot more, oh, it's only for criminals, it's very dangerous, terrorists are going to use it too much. So we're looking for reasons to bottle it up. But I think the genie is out of the bottle in some respects in this whole process. I don't think that it will be possible to suppress the potential of Bitcoin. It's too huge. It's big right now. The price of Bitcoin may fall when governments announce that it's under some penalty or other. The blockchain really means it's possible to have a money supply where you can have 100% reserve money. You can tell whether there's money in the vault, whether the asset is in the vault or isn't. And that is different to the technology of the past, where starting with jewelers or whoever was the monetary pioneer of a system, when you got to the gold standard, it was only a gold standard to a point because everybody was not going to demand the conversion of his receipts to gold at once.
Right.
And nobody could tell which receipt was good and which wasn't. With Bitcoin or blockchain, you can tell which receipt is valid. You can tell that the receipts are valid, or that there is money in the vault, or the gold is in the vault. And I think that is going to limit the ability to just have this ever-elastic supply of money, which is also misleading us in another respect, because we think, while money is very important in the economy, it's not the only thing that drives economic growth. I mean, just having money, if just printing money worked, Zimbabwe would have been one of the economic powerhouses in the world. No evidence of that. And I see our future as being one where it's the potential for governments to do things either by printing money or taxing it away. These potentials are being limited, encroached upon by technology. And eventually, this will become more evident than it is now. And when it becomes more evident, this is going to create a change in the heads of people. They're going to see that they can't get what they want from the wishing well of politics. And I looked at some numbers that were put together by a foundation that spent a lot of time analyzing the expenditures made by the 200 biggest corporations, and most politically active corporations, on campaign contributions, lobbyists, other things to access political power. And these expenditures had produced on average about $750 for every dollar outlay, which is a huge return as compared to the 29% that was calculated recently as an average payout for investment in the physical production of goods and services. So that mismatch between investment in the real economy and investment in politics tells you that we're at the last stages of the system that was in place, what Hicks called the period of fixed industrial capitalism. This latest COVID crisis, the plague that we've been going through, has accelerated the discredit of the nation state. Because people feel annoyed by it everywhere, because we have other things that kill you that don't require you to stay in your home and to lock down the whole world. And some of the other things are more deadly by far than COVID-19, even in its most aggressive form to date. The death rate from contracting tuberculosis is still 10 times higher than COVID. Thank God most people don't get tuberculosis because it's sort of receded into the margins of the world. In the 19th century, we never said, okay, tuberculosis is rampant. Let's close the economy until we find a solution. There never would have been an economy if we'd done that.